and there's nothing you can do basically once it's there.
Okay, so what you're flagging up here is that there are two scenarios going on here. There's the, and this all sounds very black and stark, but there's the genocide scenario and there's the total control scenario, and they can go hand in hand with each other.
Yes, I believe that's the plan. The WHO has, I understand, put in place this comprehensive electronic surveillance system already, and as soon as we get our nanochips with all this information about our health from the health insurance associations or whatever, they'll be able to track us via satellite and computers or whatever they have for the rest of our lives, even if we survive the pandemic, the vaccination, the wars, the famines and so on. So in this way they will have managed to not only establish one world government, but also a technical structure to control every single one of us on the planet.
We've had it told us by a number of insiders on and off record that this whole structure just exists already. They've got the databases, they've got a lot of information on most people. They're doing all this for a reason. This is like the final match that's lit to the fire, if you like.
Yes, yes.
So my question to you then is based on what you know, because you must also have people writing to you, presumably confidentially offering information.
I've had a few private confidential emails from people who've been saying they agree with what I'm saying and with the bioterrorism charges, but because of their position they're not able to come out and say that openly, and obviously I don't publish that kind of thing either. But I'm not a gold mine of secret information. The thing is, it's all out there. It's all out there if you just read the pandemic plans, you read the international health regulations and so on. The reason why people are mystified is because the mainstream media consistently deflects attention from these key crucial facts or puts a spin on them which misleads people about what their nature like, saying this pandemic is natural and caused by pigs when it's never been found in pigs. It's not new. The swine flu, according to the New England Journal of Medicine, has been at least, there was an article documenting cases of it in people since 2005, 2009. Wasn't spreading, wasn't lethal. The mainstream media is what's really mystifying, misleading people, and all I'm doing is looking at the facts behind the media and bringing them together into relationships so that people can see the bigger pattern. That's it.
What's the time scale, do you think, from here? This is the 8th of September, and we'll get this out in the next few days if I possibly can do, because time is of the essence. What do you think is going to happen as we roll on towards the new year?
Well, I think these few weeks are crucial to our humanity. I believe all the plans are in place to start these vaccination centres from October, and indeed people are going to be offered time off work in cities like Boston, 2 hours I think unpaid leave to go and get their swine flu jab. Kids are going to be offered it free or whatever, so everything's going to be done at first to persuade people to take this vaccine, and this already, we have to stop that. We have to make sure the protest is significantly large, that these vaccine centres do not stop injecting children, the gullible, the uninformed, whatever, with disease which can then be transmitted to other children sitting in schools, to their parents, and then to the colleagues at work.
It's a perfect place to spread it all in schools.
Absolutely. Unfortunately, in the army is another place. The soldiers are very vulnerable. They seem to be the first ones as well to get these mass forced vaccinations. So we don't have a minute to lose. It's going to be too late when the calls finally come through, the forced vaccinations demands come through, barring a miracle. So far they haven't managed to spark the virulent pandemic they hoped to. In April, I think they really hoped that they had set free a virus that was going to mutate and become very virulent, and they didn't manage it, and maybe they won't manage it this time either. But the more people they vaccinate, the greater the chances are that they really will spark a lethal pandemic. bear in mind Baxter 72 kilos of live bird flu virus is still in the company's possession and could be put into the vaccines here. And if every Austrian or every third or second Austrian gets it, it spreads rapidly to Germany, to Czech Republic, to Slovenia, to Poland, and will kill many, many people.
Well, it spreads almost instantly nowadays in these days of modern travel. I mean, in 1918,
yes,
people were travelling by steamships, and this is rather different now.
Yes, and particularly because of schools and workplaces and so on. So I think we don't have that much time. I think they want to, or reckoning with being able to move towards forced vaccinations towards the end of the year, maybe kind of gradually from November, December, January. But I think we have to stop even the voluntary mass vaccinations starting from October.
So, what's your message to people here? Because some people will be watching this thinking, right, I'm going to get my colloidal silver and everything else, and I'm not going to be vaccinated, and thanks for the information. But is that enough?
Well, I personally believe it isn't, because we're in a situation here where even if you have your colloidal silver and your face mask, your neighbour might get vaccinated, or you might be in contact with somebody at work. So it's in the interest of everybody to try and stick together and do things like protest outside the vaccine centres, protest to make sure schools stay closed. There's no reason to keep them open, or if kids have to go to these schools, they should be given face masks and other sensible measures to protect them in school from these viruses. So I believe that we should all be looking out for each other, because ultimately we're looking out for our own interests when we stop this pandemic from being ignited and gathering speed. However, if all you're willing to do is take the colloidal silver and the face mask, fine, as long as you're willing then, when the order comes for you to take it or to go to quarantine, to resist at that point, or be faced with being imprisoned or whatever. At that point, I would suggest it's getting a little bit late.
How much support are you getting personally? How do you feel? Because you're like a lonely soldier here fighting this in Austria, sort of unconnected, at least physically, with the rest of the world. What is it that sustains you and keeps you going and gives you the strength to keep on fighting? Because it's not easy, is it?
Well, I have to say, I look at the evidence and I see that there is a real threat also to me. I mean, I am also going to be one of the people who could be infected by this pandemic virus, or could be forced to take this vaccination, and stand to criminal if I don't take it. And this is not a very palatable kind of prospect, and it's not exactly how I, want to spend my time, ill or sick or prematurely dead from something like this. So I'm motivated also by self-interest, as well as the desire to see other people, of course, freed from this threat. But
do you
also,
have a team who are working with you? Do you feel supported logistically, emotionally, financially? Or is it just really that you're just standing alone here in Vienna?
Oh no, I mean, I have Johan Niklason in Switzerland has volunteered to put up my website.
I met him the other day, he's a wonderful man.
Yes, and he's done great work and put up a wonderful website, and and a lot of people support and send emails and reports and information that I put up on my website and so on. Here in Austria, there's somebody who has an email database of 140,000 emails who's starting to send out information, so even the Austrians are getting to hear of what's happening. So I certainly feel not alone. However, there's no doubt about it that I, for example, have very little financial resources or whatever, and I, more or less have to try and scrape by, and this limits how effective I can be. I can't cover countries or outside of Europe, or try and launch the kind of legal action that I would have wished to launch, the injunctions in places like Africa or Latin America. No substantial funding has come from any source whatsoever to help in this battle. So it's been individuals sending relatively small sums of money, or offering to do things like DVD or whatever, that has has nevertheless been very, very important.